Hello there. Now, I don't know who did this or why, but haven't we had enough of it yet? Last night, a little 8-year-old girl was stabbed in Christchurch in Dorset UK. The poor little mite. And no, it wasn't front page news. Thank heavens her injuries were not life-threatening, and let's all pray that she will quickly get over this with both a full physical and mental recovery. So if you want to make your mark, Prime Minister, let's have a real crackdown on knife crime, eh? Or are you more intent on looking at the Facebook fiends and locking them and the Twitter villains away? But looking at social media, you will see that people are understandably angry about this coming so soon after the recent previous and similar incidents. Now, dear viewer, please do not speculate over who or why. That will get you into a world of hurt. But do demand that the authorities start taking this scourge of knife crime seriously. Come on, let's get that stop and search restarted properly. Let's get some legislation on harsh sentences for those that carry these awful weapons for no good reason. Now, one of the things that tends to happen when someone who is inclined to carry a knife gets wind of a crackdown is to keep a friend, usually a girlfriend or a younger child around them, to carry the offending object. That way they can stay directly off the hook if the weapon is found. Now, it may seem unfair, but the person with the knife should still go down, even if they have no intention of using it. That way, knife mules will be harder for the things to find. And there is also the option of a reduced sentence for the mule if they name who they are carrying the blade for. And this situation has become an intolerable blight on our society. How can it be that so many very young girls have been on the receiving end of this? How can it be that we don't see Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper announcing urgent action against those that carry? Or has it become so part and parcel of our new and modern society that the only people that care are the silent and now silenced majority? Progress and being modern should mean that these sorts of attacks should already have been eradicated. But it appears to me to be getting worse. And as it gets worse, some people will feel the need to carry themselves. And that is exactly what we do not need. Knives and bladed instruments are used for work, cleaning your pipe or sharpening your pencils, not as an ornament of bravado to be used on other people. Why have successive governments been so reticent in picking up the pen that writes the laws that rids us of these little swords? Well, we all know, don't we? It's because of what must not be said about many of those that do carry such weapons. And that reticence has cost our youth dear over the years, hasn't it? But to make things worse, we are not permitted to discuss these things, nor collect the data that might help us understand and rectify the problem. Whenever a UK government claims it would be unhelpful to collect and or publish such data, you know what's really going on. You know, they know, everyone knows. But we are prohibited from voicing any concerns. How does our uniparty establishment think we're going to overcome these problems? Hope for an instant magical overnight conversion to a knife-free civilization, maybe? Fat chance. Our political masters are so afraid of confronting this problem today that they just cannot see the problems piling up for tomorrow. And now we hear that a delivery driver has been killed by someone allegedly trying to steal the cargo of the vehicle he was driving. And I gather this is another one of those crimes that is trending up. We cannot as a nation go on like this. A nation of physical crime unleashed, but criticising it muzzled. What do you think? When is this going to stop? Yes, when is this going to stop? It must stop. We've got to do something about it. The establishment has got to do something about it. This is getting beyond a joke. Really has become beyond a joke. Why can't they just see the obvious? Everyone is going to have to wear Kevlar, ? Well, yes. It does sort of seem to be heading in that direction, doesn't it? And those Kevlar things are very heavy as well. So I wore one in the military, but that was against bullets, not a stab vest. But it's not a nice thing to have to think, oh, I better not. I'm going into town or I'm leaving the house. I better put my stab vest on. What a society we're making these days. Do you remember mite had to wear one of those for a while because he was being threatened? We have no options. Well, we've got to pressure MPs, councillors. We've got to get to them. You've got to write to the press. You've got to start making your voice heard. Go on social media, but be polite and don't drop yourself in it by doing it, but make it known that you want this scourge of knife crime stopped in its tracks as soon as possible. Yeah, there you go. I wore Kevlar in Afghanistan. It's heavy. Yes, it is. And it's very sweaty in the summer. In fact, I did talk to a couple of policemen on one of these recent do's that I went to, and they were all dressed up, as you can imagine, in their overalls, and underneath they were obviously wearing some form of armour, and they were sweating bucket loads, and that was on a not too hot summer's day. Here we go. The New World Disorder. Yes, what it seems to be doing, isn't it? We seem to be going down a chaotic track. A chaotic track to try to confuse us all the time, leave us worried about what's going on, leave us without anything to hook our lives to. And that's just pure criminal. We need to fight back against this and fight back peacefully. That's for the algorithm and the other ones who are watching, by the way. Starmer thinks it's more important to imprison errant keyboard warriors. Yeah, that's what I think. I think that's what he's doing. He's more worried about the establishment taking a hit than he is doing something for the benefit of the people. As I've said before, the establishment, the state, is there to look after itself, because it thinks that it can't look after you unless it looks after itself first. But what they're doing at the moment is looking after themselves in order to impose their will on us. And that is the wrong way round. Yeah, they won't do anything other than try and stop you noticing they aren't doing anything. Well, they are doing something. They're cutting down our free speech. They're cutting down our freedoms. So I would argue that they just don't want us talking about it together. They don't want us mingling together to talk about it and come to conclusions that they're all a bunch of you-know-whats and that we need to do something about it. But they're gonna be hoist by their own democracy starting next April and May in the build-up to those council elections. And if there's any by-elections that come out of all of this and all, the MPs usually fall over something and have to resign, have to go. When that starts happening, yeah, they'll start getting the message. Now this one says legalise guns in the UK if only. Now, yes. Now there are two ways of legalising guns. There's the US way, or there's the Swiss way. Switzerland, you can have a gun. Yeah, because it's there for all sorts of things like self-defence and all the rest of it. But they train on them. They don't go round just, slaughtering everybody with them. They do have the ability to have a gun. And that is, I don't know if it's done properly and in a grown-up fashion. What is the problem? When I was a young kid, I was in the cadets. And we were, every week, once or twice a month maybe, we'd go shooting. And we treated those weapons with great respect. The thought of turning them on someone we know or someone down the road was just never entered the head. And these were real proper firearms. And I'm going to show my age now. It was the old 22 and the old 303 Lee Enfield. But, we grew up, and I grew up with those, and I was in the Scouts, and I carried a knife on my belt. Wasn't particularly big, but the thought of using it on anything other than firewood and whittling was just never occurred to me. Never occurred to my mates either. And once again, never succumb to silence. Yes, we keep saying this, never succumb to silence. Never, ever, ever stay silent about these things. Keep talking about them, keep writing about them, go on social media, and be careful, but say it in a way that gets your message across without attracting the attention of the unwanted boys in blue. I remember when our country was a safe place. Oh boy, so do I. When you could go out the door without feeling that you needed to look over your shoulder every 5 seconds. When you, as a child, you could go out in the street. You could actually just walk around in the neighbourhood as a young lad or a young lass, and no one harassed you or did anything, just all mates, and you knew that your neighbours would look out for you. What a different world we had back then. I like this one. World Extortion Forum. Yes, may well be in the future, if it's not there already. Yeah. And who's behind Starmer? I don't know. But I do have my suspicions that it's a more internationalist affair. And I just get the impression every time I see him, with his little wide eyes looking like he's staring into the headlights, the little rabbit in the middle of the road, I'm thinking, what is going on? He seems, I don't know, scared of something, and I don't know what it is. Anyway, I just wanted to bring you this little update because it has bothered me since I read about it first thing this morning, and that the fact it wasn't front page news. But I've got somewhere to go now, so I'll leave you to it and have a great evening. And thanks very much for joining me.